Welcome to the 2024 Minnesota State High School League Midseason Review Module. My name is Christina Febeck. I'm the Minnesota State High School League Metro Area Volleyball Coordinator. I'm going to go over the midseason reminders with you. Primary focus of our preseason clinics was ball handling. It continues to be our primary focal point. We're striving for ball handling consistency across the state. Officials maintain a consistent level of ball handling based on the athlete's abilities. The goal when officiating ball handling is to increase the continuation of play when judging second ball contacts that are directed to a teammate. This means that we are less punitive of minor double contacts by a setter when the ball is sent to their teammate. Obvious faults must be called, and any second or third ball sent over the net to the opponent that is doubled must be called. No body position is automatically illegal. Players can and will make spectacular legal plays from awkward positions. These situations require careful, narrow focus, but should never result in an automatic whistle. Let their athleticism have an opportunity to shine. The game of volleyball is evolving. Athletes are stronger, faster, and more skilled. Officials must adjust to the game. The tips on the following slides will help guide you. Tip number 1, a player in good position must play the ball without a discernible double contact. The image that you see on the slide shows a player at the net in the right front position. They have their feet under them. They appear to have gotten to the ball early, but you notice how the left hand is in contact with the ball, but not the right. This would be a double contact. Note also the odd turn of that left hand. Sometimes we'll see simultaneous contact between the two hands, but one with an odd turn. This is an indication that you might have a double, but does not automatically mean that there is one. So this is why you must narrow your focus to see the contact of the ball. Tip number 2, less severe judgment is applied to a contact by a player who's making a challenging or spectacular play. Factors to consider when you're deciding whether something is challenging or spectacular could include, is the player leaping, twisting, running? Was there a really quick reaction, or was the action from the previous contact very close in proximity to them to where they had very little time to react? Number 3, mishandled balls resulting in blatant faults should be called, regardless of the difficulty of the play. So it's extremely important that you narrow your focus. As you see in this slide, we've got a correct contact with the right hand, but only the fingertips of 2 fingers are shown on the ball of the left hand. This could result in a double contact, but some skilled players will be able to play this ball legally without a double contact. Make sure you're narrowing your focus, and if it does come out illegally as a double, then you need to whistle this. Number 4, players may opt to take the ball over the net with a two-handed setting motion. If this is the second or third contact, this ball must be contacted cleanly and cannot be doubled, caught, or thrown. In this picture example, if this is a set or dump, it must be clean. The prolonged contact rule is difficult for many officials, especially those who are not seeing year-round play. The rule states that the ball is not allowed to come to rest or involve prolonged contact. Number 5, when judging caught or thrown balls, it's important to remember that some rebounds are slower than others. For example, when a ball comes out of the net, it loses velocity. Therefore, the next contact will be slower. Don't misjudge the slower contact as a throw. Anytime you hear a thud or a smack, it's likely a rebound and play should continue. However, a whistle should accompany a ball that does not rebound. Similar to the idea that there is no illegal body position, there needs to be agreement that if an action is allowed from one angle, it should be allowed from all. This slide shows the same hand action contacting the ball at different arm positions, be it above the shoulder during a serve, out in front of the shoulder during an attack, or below the shoulder during a defensive save. Just because you see an underhand motion with an open hand does not automatically mean that the ball has been caught or thrown. This is a legal defensive action being taught by many coaches. The maximum length of contact must be judged the same for all playing actions, be it a set, a tip, a ball dug out of the net, or a defensive reaction play. The fact that the contact is an underhand action or done with an open hand should not be an automatic call. So if the same tip style action off the fingertips occurs during a defensive action when the ball is below shoulder height, you should deem this a legal action and allow the rally to continue. Here are a couple of tips for judging prolonged contact during setting actions. Beware of how deeply the wrists are bent and of how far in and out the elbows bend. It's possible for some athletes to use these techniques very quickly and set legally, but if you have both a deep wrist bend and a large in and out elbow extension range, you've got a caught and thrown ball and should be whistling for an illegal contact. Most of us are familiar with tips that turn into throws because the attacker runs under the ball, then illegally throws the ball down from behind their head. Fewer officials critically think about how the height of the set impacts the attacker's ability to tip the ball. The picture on the right shows a traditional tip, where the attacker is able to get full extension of their elbow and decide whether they're going to attack or tip the ball. Her arm is straight, her wrist isn't bent, and the ball's going to contact her fingertips. This is a legal tip that's easy to judge. However, the picture on the left shows a ball that's been set too low. The attacker has to bend her elbow, and she has a bent wrist. Neither of these things alone means that the tip is going to be a throw. But our internal referee warning system should be narrowing our focus because it's more likely that this body position might result in a throw. If while the ball is in the attacker's fingertips, she straightens her elbow and or flicks her wrist from under to behind the ball before releasing it, she's thrown the ball. We want to end this ball handling reminder module by encouraging you to be decisive and courageous in your ball handling decision making. Don't allow reactions by players, coaches, bench personnel, spectators, or table personnel to influence your judgments. Make decisions based on the rules and your training. Many of the complaints fielded by the state's rules interpreters so far this season have dealt with professionalism and communication. If we take care of business and use professional judgment, we'll all be much better off. The following slides are going to go over a communications review. Coordinate with your partner several days before the match, making sure you follow any standards set by your local assigner. Make sure you arrive no less than 30 minutes prior to the scheduled start time. It is preferable to have both referees meet and enter the match site together. Immediately upon arrival, meet with the site manager. Make sure you ask if there will be an intermission or special events. Find out where in the gym the site manager will be during the match so you can quickly locate them if needed. Ask if they have medical on site and where they will be located. If an injury arises and a trainer is needed, it's important to know beforehand that you're sharing them with football and they're outside on the field. Additionally, discuss any questions you have about playable area and address any equipment issues that need padding or adjusting. Officials should evaluate the match site and determine playable and non-playable areas. Keep risk minimization and fairness in mind within the application of the rules. Work with host management to fix any problems. State or regional assigners may create and provide a compilation of ground rules for each school prior to each season to help mitigate potential confusion among refs from night to night. It is the responsibility of coaches to educate school administration and the school community as to the sportsmanship nuances of the game of volleyball. This should include appropriate times cheerleaders may or may not cheer and proper location to cheer, appropriate location and behavior of fans and mascots, appropriate comments, timing of announcements, and good sportsmanship by PA announcers, and appropriate time for music and sound effects. As soon as the R1 raises their arm to beckon for serve, all PA announcements and music should immediately be silenced. It is imperative that both teams can clearly hear the whistle for serve. While we don't want to squelch the excitement and fun announcers and music bring to the match, it's important to understand that volleyball is a momentum sport. When the teams are ready to play, the whistle to start play should quickly follow. We can't allow table personnel to disrupt the natural flow of the game. The R2 needs to advise site administration of these concerns in a courteous manner if the PA announcer or music director are not cutting off in time. As soon as your table crew arrives, pre-match with them. But before you utter your first word, remind yourself this is their house and you are their guest. Start out on the right foot by introducing yourself and thanking them for helping you. Ask them, how do you run your table? Listen while they tell you how they prefer to work. If they need prompting, ask them if they want you to verbalize subs or if they prefer to talk to each other. Make sure there's an agreed upon signal or word that lets you know they have correctly recorded each sub. Then, if you need something else, communicate that cordially. Be nice. They will have your back when you need it. Be overly inclusive, especially at the beginning of the match, to ensure sub pacing and game tempo is appropriate for their skill level. During timeouts and between sets, check their work and offer feedback if needed. If a coach ever requests a score check during a match, make sure you as the R2 are actually counting all the points in the book. One of the most frequent errors new scorers make is forgetting to include side-out points. The score sheet shown here is one of several examples I've been sent this season where side-out points indicated by the red box were not properly recorded. This match ended with a score of 26-27. The winning team was only up by 1. After watching match video, it was confirmed that the R2 asked the table if the score was correct, but did not turn the score sheet around to count the points and ensure that all side-out points were properly given. Even if the coach hasn't asked for a score check, had the R2 done their job and counted the points before initialing to sign off on the set, the scoring error could have been caught and rectified. If you realize there's a scoring problem even after the set is ended but before you start the next set, you should put the teams back on the court and finish the match. It's not fun, but it's the right thing to do, and our jobs as the referees is to facilitate the match within the rules to the best of our abilities. Pre-match seating begins at 20 minutes on the countdown warm-up clock. Keep it brief so captains can get back to warming up, but make sure you cover important points. During pre-match meetings, use a professional and courteous manner to efficiently cover your relevant pre-match information. Your standard pre-match should include asking coaches if their teams are properly and legally equipped and indicating whether or not there will be an intermission between sets 2 and 3. Remember when addressing varsity players and coaches, in most cases, pointing out things like the color of the lines is not necessary. Early in the season, you may want to remind coaches and captains that they will not be switching sides, but that the line judges will switch. Home team has already chosen their side, so the visiting team will call the toss. The team that wins the toss has the choice of serve or receive. At the conclusion of the conference, immediately report the results of the coin toss to the scorer. Use professionalism when addressing a coach. Call them coach. Don't use their first name, as this can be construed as favoritism or showing a personal relationship. Leave that for after the match is concluded and outside of the playing venue. When answering questions, use rules language. And always address the coach with jewelry or uniform issues, not the athlete. Officials do not address inappropriate spectator behavior directly. Involve the site manager at the onset. All spectator issues should be addressed by the site manager or head coaches in the absence of a site manager. Referees should never directly address fans. At the end of the match, the R2 should quickly ensure the score sheet is correct and initial it. The R2 then gathers both officials' ref bags and meets the first referee at a predetermined location just off the court. In most cases, the R1 should not return to the score table. The two referees should either exit the gym together or go to a more private area of the gym away from everyone else. This is called toot and scoot. We do it to avoid any discussion with coaches, players, or spectators. Staying together helps you protect each other. Proceed to a private location where a quick and productive post-match conference can be conducted. If time or space doesn't allow for this, call each other on the phone and do a quick match debrief. Officials encounter illegal court markings, equipment safety issues, illegal uniforms, experience taunting or unsporting fans, have to give out red cards or excessive delays at a match, they must complete a post-match contest report, which is located on the Minnesota State High School League Central Hub in the middle column under Officials and Judges. League staff will determine if any action and/or penalties are necessary. An ejection report should be completed if a coach or player is ever disqualified. If you have any questions or if unusual situations arise, please reach out to your regional coordinator for rules interpretation and clarification. Have a great finish to your season.